Hello all, this is Aniz with you. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to see the transactional process present in the inventory management software. These are called either processes or modules. It differs from programmer to programmer. Some call it as modules and some call it as processes, but both are right. I have already completed all the required master modules and I also have uploaded the source code of the same in my previous video. Now, before we step into the creation of transactional modules, it is very much required to understand all the processes of the inventory transactions. Because inventory management can even be done by books, and many of the small business still does not use computers or softwares, but they use the same process. Let's see the flow of the inventory process. The first one is the quotation. The importer requests the quote from the supplier. Then after, the supplier sends the quotation which will have the FOB of the items and other offers and payment terms. This quotation normally happens through the emails, and earlier it used to happen through the fax or mails, but now it happens in email and it is an out of software process. After the quotation is agreed by both the parties, then the importer creates the purchase order and sends the purchase order to the exporter. After we receive the goods from the supplier, we have to do the purchase inward. This purchase inward is the very important process. It is a stock affecting process. Once the purchase inward is confirmed, the goods are added to the stock. After the purchase inward, the accounts department makes the landed cost calculations by adding the loading charges, unloading charges, taxes, insurance and other charges. After completing the landed cost calculation, the weighted average cost is calculated by the software. This is very important because this weighted average cost involves in the calculation of GP. GP means gross profit. We will see more about GP in the upcoming videos. After the stock is added to the inventory, the logistic team sends the stock to the stores for selling. In case if our client is a wholesaler, then it does the sales directly from the warehouse. But if our client is retailer, then he does the sales from the stores. After selling the stocks at stores for a period, the physical stock will not tally with the system stock. This discrepancy comes for various reasons. Some people acts like a customer and steals few pieces and gets away without billing. Sometimes your staff sells the goods without doing the bill in the system. Like this, many possibilities exist and we don't want to go deep into that. As a programmer, our duty is to add a physical stock module in our software. This module will help to fix the issue and bring back the accuracy in the software by matching the system stock with the physical stock. That's it. These are the processes of the inventory management system. We will see now what is a purchase order and why we must create a purchase order before buying anything from the local or external market in large quantities. After that, we will see what are the process involved in importing goods. Some of you may say, hey Aniz, the importing of goods are the responsibilities of the logistic team. Why should we learn that? Very sorry for your thought. We must learn everything because we are programmers and we steps into everybody's shoes to computerize and recommend the best ways and practices to improve the task. So don't ask me why, ask me how. After that, we will see what is a LC or otherwise called as letter of credit. Then after, we will create the purchase order module for our inventory management project. After that, we will see the role of purchase order in the inventory management system. Now, let's see what is a purchase order. A purchase order is a commercial document and first official letter issued by a buyer to a seller indicating types, quantities and agreed prices for products or services. It is used to control the purchasing of products and services from the external suppliers. The stock managing process of the inventory softwares usually starts from the purchase order. Before raising a purchase order, there is also an out-of-system process called quotation. The customer or buyer requests the quotation from the supplier, and after agreeing the quotation, the customer issues the purchase order. This purchase order is a legal document, and either of the parties can sue the other party legally on breaking the terms and conditions mentioned in the purchase order. There are two types of purchase order: local purchase order, or otherwise called as LPO. The second one is the overseas purchase order, or otherwise called as simply PO. Local purchase order is normally simple because only the supplier and customer are involved in the LPO. The risk is also very minimal as the supplier and customer deals from the same country, and you don't need to bring any third party guarantee into the process. But the overseas purchase order is little complicated. Here the distance between the supplier and customer is more, and they are sitting in different countries. So there are lots of risks involved in the transaction. Either of the party can cheat the other. So we involve banks in the middle to smoothen the process so that both the parties can have their proper sleep. Of course, sleep is very important, and you need to calm mind to have a good sleep. Okay, let's come to the process. In the overseas purchase order, there is an important out of system process exists called as LC. LC stands for letter of credit. Let's see this letter of credit in detail. LC means letter of credit. There are four parties involved in the process of creating the LC. The first party is called the exporter or supplier. The second party involved is the importer or customer. The third party is the issuing bank, or otherwise called as LC opening bank. This is the very important party of LC process because it takes the financial risk and all verifications are done by this party. Then the last one, the fourth party, is the exporter bank or the advising bank. Okay, now let's see how all these parties connect together to complete a successful dispatch of the shipment with respect to the purchase order. The first process of the LC is agreeing on the terms and conditions of the purchase order. Then the importer, or otherwise called as the buyer or customer, applies for a LC with the issuing bank. After that, the issuing bank releases the LC to the exporter or confirming bank. If the same bank is available in both the countries, then it is better to go with that bank because it speeds up the process. In my client case, they go with HSBC Bank. It is available in China and also in UAE, so the things gets faster here. After that, the confirming bank verifies the LC and forwards the LC to the exporter, to the supplier. Once the exporter receives the LC from the bank, then he gets the assurance that the money is with the bank and therefore there is no risk in shipping the goods. So he ships out the goods to the importer through a shipper. After shipping the goods, the exporter forwards all the documents related to the shipment to the exporter bank. Then after the exporter bank, the confirming bank, forwards the shipment documents to the issuing bank, that is the LC opening bank. After that, the importer bank, the LC opening bank, verifies the shipment documents and send it to the importer and requests the confirmation from the importer on the same. After the importer confirms that the shipment is handed over to the shipping agent, he issues the shipment and confirms the LC opening bank. After that, the LC opening bank will advise the LC confirming bank, the exporter bank, to release the payment to the exporter, to the supplier. That's it with the LC process. In our next video, we will computerize the purchase order module with the option to save the LC details in it. With this, I am completing this video. Before I sign off, I request you to subscribe and share this video. I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. Thank you and bye for now.